The Magic of Norumbega, Chapter 5, The Ringmaster. After Getty jumped off the carousel, she set out to explore Norumbega. Now and then she passed a tree or a bush that seemed like a young version of an old friend, but the other sights and smells of Norumbega were nothing like Dog Park. Walking paths sprawled in every direction, each leading to entertainment and food. A clown wobbled past her, juggling bowling pins while walking on stilts. He was followed by a jester, pedaling a unicycle and squawking out a tune on a kazoo. Getty briefly joined a group of people gathered around some acrobats who were displaying their skill at somersaults and backflips, twisting their bodies so quickly they blurred before her eyes. She watched them until she made friends with a little girl who shared bits of fried dough whenever her mother glanced away. More walkways led to more wonders. Mechanical rides that looked like cars and seaplanes ferried children around the park. Women in uniforms played softball in an open field, surrounded by fans that cheered each swing of the bat. Other people tried their luck by hurling darts at balloons to win prizes. Getty sprinted from one attraction to the next. She began plotting how to convince Murphy to come along on her next visit, imagining the fun they would have exploring the park together. Late in the afternoon, Getty noticed a tall fence with an open gate. She peeked inside and saw a small crowd of people seated on bleachers around a circular stage where a man and 6 white horses were performing. Getty wandered in to see the show. The horses wore tiaras of wilted feathers on their heads, frayed ribbons braided into their tails, and bells on leather straps around their ankles. The man was dressed like a ringmaster, wearing a tall black hat and a black coat that was short in the front and longer in the back. He held a whip in his hand, which he waved about as he shouted commands to the horses. "Kneel! Curtsy! Dance!" Every once in a while he cracked the whip into the air. It made a quick, loud noise like a firecracker, and the horses responded by prancing a little higher and holding their heads a little taller. But after a few minutes they would slow down again, their heads drooping as though holding them up was too much of an effort. The horses seemed very old, or tired, or sad. Getty watched from the entrance. The audience, she noticed, was not impressed with the show on the stage. There was a great deal of chatter and not much applause. A few people got up from their seats and left. Getty decided to leave too. The show gave her an unsettled feeling, and she wondered if Norumbega was not as perfect as it had first seemed. As she turned to leave, Getty felt a cold shiver go through her body. She glanced over her shoulder at the man on the stage and found his icy blue eyes staring right at her. She hadn't recognized Cushman at first because his eyeglasses were gone, and his droopy mustache had been combed into 2 curls plastered against his cheeks. When he saw her looking at him, he threw his head back and laughed. It was the nastiest sound she had ever heard. Getty turned quickly and started to run, but to her horror, Cushman abandoned the horses to take chase. He leaped off the stage and followed right behind her through the open gate. People in their path jumped out of the way to make room for the pair. Someone shouted, "Go, dog!" and they all took up the cheer. "Go, dog! Go, dog! Go, dog!" Getty was a fast runner, but Cushman, despite his large size, kept her within his sight. "To Norumbega in time's long past," Getty tried to say out loud as she ran, but the magic words came out as ragged, incomprehensible growls, and they only slowed her down. She gave up and concentrated on increasing her strides instead. Cushman chased Getty past a picnic area, past a ride where children swayed from side to side in giant spinning teacups, past the entrance to the zoo. Somehow he managed to stay on her trail, but when she saw the river ahead of her, Getty knew how she would escape. She ran frantically along the river's edge, looking for a place to dive in and swim. There was none to be found. Children splashed and played games all along the shoreline, while hundreds of brightly colored boats glided between Norumbega and the opposite shore. Getty was sure to be hit with an oar if she tried to swim between the boats. But she was wasting precious moments. She could almost feel the ground shudder from the thud, thud, thud of Cushman's heavy footsteps. She had to get across that river. There was a boat ramp alongside the swimming area. Getty jumped on and ran to the end of it. She crouched, aimed, and dove through the air. She landed right on target, on the seat of a wooden canoe between two young women who were too startled to say a word. The canoe wobbled to the left, then teetered to the right. As soon as it was steady, Getty was off again. This time she landed on a boat built to look like a swan, filled with children who squealed with glee at the unexpected visit from the big red dog. From there, Getty sprung onto a bright blue paddle boat, then onto a yellow one, then onto another canoe, and so on, until she had crossed the entire river and was safe on the other side. When she reached the shore, Getty turned around to look back at Cushman. He, too, had decided to cross the river by jumping from boat to boat, but he wasn't as graceful as Getty. As the dog was reaching safety, Cushman was being pulled out of the river by two lifeguards. He was sputtering mouthfuls of angry threats as water streamed from his sleeves and his tall hat bobbed downstream. All the way across the river, Getty could hear Cushman thunder, "I'm going to get that dog no matter what I have to do." He shook his fist in the air to everyone who was gawking and laughing at him. "I'll show you. Come see Cushman's Animal Act. That dog is going to be the new star of my show."